Morning, everybody. Rolling through traffic. Got my son with me. We're gonna do a little bit of work today. He gets to come to work with me and hang out, plugging in computers and all kinds of crazy stuff. But as we were rolling down, we were listening to Numbers, and we were listening to Mark chapter 8. And what's interesting with Mark chapter 8, I think, is something we could all learn from. So Yeshua's out with the disciples. He's feeding thousands of people with a couple of loaves and some fish. And Miss Leslie says hi.
Hi.
So you know, he's out there and he's feeding all these people with very little food. And so all of a sudden, Yeshua and the disciples are on a boat, and they're needing bread. They're worried about, they only have one loaf of bread, and so they're kind of freaking out, right? But here's the interesting thing: not even not even a chapter before, in the same chapter, Yeshua had just fed thousands of people, and so the disciples, even when he starts talking about the fact that they should watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of, which, by the way, what does he mean by watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees? What does he mean by watch out for the leaven? But he's talking about leaven, and the disciples immediately go back to, oh yeah, we don't have any bread. They're not focused on what Jesus is trying to teach them. They're like, oh, I don't have any bread, you know? And Jesus is like, dude, I just fed like thousands of people with a couple loaves of bread, and you're over here. And he literally reminds them of the things that just happened. And he says, what are you worried about your bread for? I'm trying to teach you something. Do you have ears but don't hear? That kind of thing. And so I wonder how many times God has done something miraculous for us. He has done something crazy, whether it's with money or with relationships or whatever. I wonder how many times God has done something in our lives that was miraculous, and the same concern or worry or something like that hits us later and drags us down again, and we get concerned about this one little piece, even though we know God has handled it before. We know He's done amazing miracles before. We're too busy focused on the fact that, oh man, I'm not going to be able to pay that bill this week, or oh man, I'm not sure how I'm going to make it this month, or whatever. When God has already shown you He's the God of money, He's the God of food, He's the God of provision. And so you get worried about the temporal things, or the things here on earth, and you forget the miraculous things that God has done for you, both eternally and even here on earth. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that Jesus had to sit there and remind the disciples, hey, I just fed you guys with, like, you know, basically nothing, and you're worried about food, and I'm trying to teach you something. Just something interesting I got today. Alex, you got anything?
I was not expecting this at all. You pretty much said everything I was thinking of, so.
All right. Well, I love you guys. God bless. Talk to you tomorrow.